moment to breathe, grab a beverage or two. We got professional guests with lots of stories for you. So take a seat right here and join us on Careers Over Beers.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. This is Careers Over Beers podcast. Thank you all for tuning in and listening right now. I have an important guest on today for the community of Wichita. What's your name?
Vanessa Whiteside.
Vanessa Whiteside. And you have a book coming out soon, I believe, right?
It launched yesterday.
It launched yesterday?
This is very timely.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
We need to crack a beer for that one.
Yeah, I know. Can we go ahead and toast?
For some reason, I saw June 6th or something in the Wichita Eagle. That's when I was...
Boy. I read that. Hopefully they didn't get it wrong.
I hope they didn't get it wrong either. Because
I
I was
think that might
tracking
be
like a June date.
Yeah, that might be a book signing.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
A lot of those coming up, man.
Oh, man.
You gotta come.
So I can buy your book right now on shelves?
Yeah, it's at Watermark, signed. I signed a few advance copies. You can find it 8th Day Books, Barnes & Noble's waiting for theirs to come, but you could probably buy it out of the trunk of my car later if you wanted to.
I'm going to have to, yeah, because I was going to pick one up today, actually, and I read that article in the paper that said June. So
okay, yeah, it's officially out yesterday.
It's officially out, guys.
Yeah.
And it's called 100 Things to Do in Wichita Before You Die.
Yeah, it's a bucket list book. Can you tell?
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Well, you requested some juicy IPA, or not juicy, hazy IPAs, but this is a juicy one.
Yeah.
This is Joko Juice. So you requested a hazy IPA.
Right.
I went to the liquor store. I looked around for some hazy IPAs that are local. And the liquor store owner told me a lot of these local breweries around here, you can get them at the brewery, but they're not canning them up in liquor stores. So this one is actually from Lawrence, Kansas. So semi-local.
Lawrence? Oh, Lenexa maybe?
Lenexa, yeah.
Oh, man, I miss Lawrence. I used to live there.
Did you?
But Lenexa's good,
I think
too.
he told me Lawrence, but it actually is Lenexa, isn't it?
Well, cheers. Thank you for
yeah,
having
cheers
me
to your book.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's really good.
Oh. And it's 7%.
And it's 7%, so a few of these should
no
make
Miller
me feel...
Lite.
It'll give you a nice warm hug after one of these.
Yeah. Are you a fan of IPAs, or you just like getting through?
I didn't used to be, but the more I drink them on the podcast with people, the more I'm like, it's not bad. I like it. I like the V6 from Wichita Brewing Company quite a bit.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
You should be able to find that in cans.
Yeah, you can. But you said hazy IPA, so I was like, I got to get her a hazy one.
I appreciate that. I went through a phase where I got a little crazy with the IPAs. And by that, I mean, I started buying like single cans that were like $9 a piece.
Oh, and they were probably 10% a piece?
Yeah.
Alcohol?
Yeah, you should pace yourself.
Yeah.
Drink some water with it. And then that had to stop because it's a budget buster.
It is, yeah.
So.
Being a craft beer consumer is a budget buster.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes you just got to buy a 6-pack of Bud Light,
Well, we have Miller Lite in our, fridge right now.
Yeah,
so
that's a budget
beer.
beer.
It's for good red beer.
Oh, yeah.
You like a red beer?
I do like a red beer. My dad was on this podcast actually and shared a red beer with me. That's his favorite drink.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. How about a michelada?
Michelada, yes.
Okay.
And you know where the best place to find one of those is?
Which town are we talking about? Wichita?
In Wichita.
It's going to be on Arkansas, most likely.
I think it's going to be on 235 in Central.
235 in Central. What's the name?
You know where Renee's Mexican food is?
Yeah.
Right next to it. It's called... It might be called michelada something, but that's all
Really?
they serve. And they serve it in a drive-thru. You get a big cup.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's
I'm very excited now. I remembered it comes in a styrofoam cup.
Comes in a styrofoam cup,
Yep.
That's
okay.
the best place to get one that I've experienced.
I'm gonna revisit that place.
Yeah.
By the end of the week.
That's all they have.
I'm gonna tag you on Instagram. We'll do a virtual cheers.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Right on.
Okay, so Vanessa Whiteside, you just dropped a book yesterday.
Yeah, my first.
Where do we even begin? Where do you want to begin on this?
Writing journey? I don't know.
Yeah, how did you even get into this?
Well, I have always been a writer. I mean, it's like my first love.
When you were a little kid?
I mean, yeah, I actually remember. Do you remember when you were in school and like in your library, they'd have like a book sale and it'd be like Scholastic books? You remember they would bring in like
a book fair?
Yeah, a book fair, and you'd get the
book fair was
catalog in
the
advance,
shit.
and you'd be like, you'd say, "This is what I want."
Yeah.
I bought a diary. Like, who does that when they're like in third grade? what I did.
Well, a lot of girls do at 3rd grade, I feel
Yeah.
like maybe.
And that was my start of writing. I mean, just always putting pen to paper.
Yeah.
And I did that for, forever, just writing whatever. And then in high school, I was, somebody complimented me on, a teacher, complimented me on my writing. And I thought, maybe there's something to this.
So you're just a natural. Always
I mean,
had
I'd like to think that
Yeah.
I'm better than average. We'll
Yeah.
just say that. I'm a little humble about it. There's some
let's
really
hope so. You
good writers.
just released a book, so.
Somebody believed in me, right? Again. Thank goodness for editors. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I just always found opportunities to write. So in high school, I went from your journalism class. I went to Wichita Southeast. I'm going to see my teacher tomorrow, by the way. That's
Ooh.
another side note we could talk about. But yeah, I'm going to see her for the first time in a long time, my journalism teacher. And then I just, graduated every year. You could be like another level on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was reporter, editor, and then editor-in-chief, which means you delegate
Top dog.
a lot. Yeah, it was fun. And I pursued it in school. I mean, I got a journalism degree from KU. And then, so I just kept writing different publications that would have me.
Just kept writing.
Yeah.
You just knew from the start.
Yeah, I mean, if you
ask
asked me to write something, I'll be like, what's it about?
And you
What's
can make it
do?
happen.
I can do it, probably.
That is a skill. Like I feel like it's not something you can necessarily teach very well. Kind of like being a star basketball player or something. You just kind of have it. I've met some extremely smart people in my life that are brilliant. I mean, when it comes to most things, but they can't write worth a crap.
Yeah.
When they try to put the pen to pad, it just comes out all jumbled up, or
Right.
it comes out too business-like, not casual enough. And I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And there's people like you out there that you just have it. You can take a subject and it just flows.
Yeah.
The words connect perfectly.
Thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I think like that all the time. Over here we're talking about Anthony Bourdain earlier.
Yes, I got
And,
a picture of him up there.
We share a love of his work for sure. But those kind of people that I look up to, it's a driving force. Like if we don't do it, then it grows stale, and we're not very good writers anymore. So if you just need me to write some web copy, I'm your girl.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I do that kind of stuff all the time.
I need to get
I
you
work
writing my
freelance.
social media posts for my podcast because I don't know what I'm doing with that.
Oh, you're doing a good job because you're teasing the content, right?
Yeah.
You don't just say, "Hey, I put one out, episode 49."
Yeah.
You tee it up.
I like people to at least read it and say, oh, they're going to be talking about this or whatever,
Yep. So yeah, I just was always writing and stuff, and then after college, it was hard to find a job as a writer when I graduated. So I might have done a little bartending.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I like beer so much.
There you go.
I
We
just
appreciate
had
you.
some random jobs, but I got back into it. And when I moved back to Wichita, I did a lot more writing for publications and stuff. So it all led to this, I guess.
It all led to this.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any pushback or times when you were pursuing writing in your career where people were like, that's not going to work out. You're not going to find a job. What are you going to do with a writing degree?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And my backup plan in my head was that I was going to go to culinary school. But the interesting part, and that didn't happen, but the interesting part is that I spend a lot of my time writing about food when I'm on the road.
Yeah.
And so I get to scratch that itch
Oh,
in that
yeah.
way, and talk to chefs and talk to restaurant owners. And like you, I just love telling stories,
Yeah.
or learning about people. So, if they'll have me, if I can ask some
That's
more
perfect. I mean,
questions.
yeah, that's one of my passions too, honestly, is the culinary world. That's why I'm
Yeah.
a big Bourdain fan. Aside from his cooking and his traveling and all that stuff, that's just badass in my opinion. All around, he's a rock star. He
Yeah.
also had this way with words where if I read a quote by Bourdain, it's not even more than 10 words put together, and it's just different.
It's powerful.
It hits different,
Yeah, it does.
There's
he speaks
something
like
to
no one else.
Yeah, there's something about the way he writes when you read that, you're just like, holy crap.
And then you think like, wow, is this opening up an idea for me? Like, do I want to go travel, or do I want to try food I've never tried before? So yeah, I hope I can do that for some people. When I'm not writing a book and I'm not doing my freelance day job as a writer, then when I'm on the road, and honestly, like I was just in Watermark doing some quick signings of books. I mean, I snuck in there in like a jeans and a t-shirt. I wasn't trying to be found. And this couple came up to me, and they own a restaurant in Wichita, and they were like, "Are you? Oh,
You're the one
You're
that-
you." And I said, "I think so."
Yeah.
she said that she's been inspired by some of my trip writing about going places. And so that was pretty cool. She gave me some specifics.
That's a good
and I was
feeling.
like, oh, well,
Isn't that awesome?
You gassed up the car and went somewhere because my words,
Yeah,
translated to
your
something.
words translated somewhere that somebody picked up on.
Yeah.
And that's what's unique about words is that it's a way, it sticks throughout humanity forever. Words always last.
Yeah. So when you watch a movie or, you watch like you're binging Netflix and you just can't get enough of a show or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what show it is for you.
I don't either.
No. But when you're really into something, you
Yeah.
think like, why is this working so well? And we always just say right away, oh, the acting. Well, the acting is really good. But what are the actors doing? They're acting to a script.
Yes.
It was written by somebody. So
Written
without the
words.
words plus the direction plus
Right.
the acting,
There's nothing
we
there.
wouldn't have anything. So it all starts with that crafting, that writing.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So if I hear a character say something, I'm just like, oh, that was good.
Who wrote that?
Yeah, well, yeah,
That's the way you look at it?
for sure. Like I'm binge watching Seinfeld again.
Yeah.
Just because the
that's a
writing is
classic.
so good.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. So when I'm not writing, that's what I'm doing, I guess.
Well, what is your daily life like? Or what has it been like this past couple of years when you're writing this book and doing all that stuff?
It's been a whirlwind.
Has it?
Yes, let me drink for a second.
Yeah, take a good drink there. Reminisce on this for a second.
It's really good, man.
These are really good.
And I like a good graphic design on the label. I'm a sucker for that. I'll like pick up a beer just because it's like the kind of beer I want. And the
That's a big part of it.
design looks really great.
It's a huge part of it. Just like YouTube, one of the biggest parts of that is the thumbnail.
Yeah. You better make
You
a
could
good
have-
one for this.
I'm going to try to. We're going to take some pictures after for a
Okay.
good thumbnail.
What's my daily life like? Well, I mean, in the last year, I started a company. It's called Delightful Life Media,
Yes.
LLC. So I had to form an LLC, start paying those taxes like real people.
What was that
do.
process like? Was it tough?
I don't know that I knew what I was doing. I mean, I knew small business owners enough to get advice from them, and I knew I was going to need an accountant at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I did know I had some very specific goals, and one was I wanted to be a sole proprietor and not have anybody on my payroll, if ever. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to pay.
That's a
payroll
unique goal.
Yeah, but I am getting to the point where I'm really busy. Where people are like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
But during the last year, I separated from an agency job that I had, and I went out and started that LLC. And
Because you do social media for other companies too, right?
I do.
You'll run their pages and whatnot.
Yes.
So you'll never want anybody to do that for you? You want to do it all on your own?
The writer in me, the control freak, it's probably not going to
can't?
work out.
Yeah.
No, because the writing I do for my own like blog, social media posts, I mean, that's from experience of being like on the road.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody could write that for me.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
It's
But-
definitely different for somebody like you because you want to word things the way that hits. I mean, that's what an author does. You word things in a way that makes somebody feel some kind of way, you know? And as
Yeah.
somebody that's working for you can't really match that.
I don't think so. I'd have to really train them, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but there are companies that, I'll just give you an example without mentioning the name. So, like I write about windows and doors, for example, for a company.
Mm-hmm.
Once you adopt their brand tone, like you can sell a door, you can sell a window.
kind of
I mean, you have
immerse
to
yourself
really
in-
know the product. So,
Yeah.
some of my clients are in the service industry. So, I'm a customer as well as the person who writes for them. That makes it a lot easier. So, yeah, I do that during the day. So that's kind of like the bread and butter money because, like you were saying, can you make a living being a writer? Was there ever any doubt? It's like sometimes it's
Yeah.
thin, right? Like during COVID, that was kind of crazy.
That was.
Starting a company during COVID.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But I was like one of those people, and you've heard about this group of people on the news that just said, if not now, when?
Mm-hmm.
And I think some people like myself had that, nagging feeling like this is something I've wanted to do. And COVID being at home and working remotely just taught me like, I can do this.
You're talking about the book?
Well, starting the company.
Starting the company.
And then
Okay.
along that journey in the last year, I was approached by Reedy Press out of St. Louis, and they had gotten my name from someone in Wichita, and they said, we heard you're a good writer.
Really?
Yeah.
So the way you started writing this book, you were approached by somebody else?
So the publisher called me or emailed me and said, would you be interested in this project? I had never heard of this series. I didn't know who they were. And after I looked into it, I realized that they do a lot of like guidebooks, a lot of travel stuff. So that fits my niche, what I really want to write about.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they just said, well, we're looking for someone who's a native of Wichita. Check. So I'm going to check the boxes, right? We're looking for someone who's a good writer, a published writer, not just thinks they're a good writer.
Yeah.
Check.
Yep.
And it would be really helpful if you had a lot of background in marketing. Well, I just got done working at a marketing agency.
Wow.
Check.
Yeah, you filled all the boxes for him then,
I
huh?
did. So, part of being an author, and I don't know what it's like at every publisher, but from what I've learned is that the first half, maybe like 40%, is crafting the book and writing it and getting your manuscript sent for your editor to look at, right? And then the other 60% is marketing the book. So here I am. I'm doing media, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing social media. I'm scheduling all my own book events. I mean, they do PR for me, and maybe that's how people hear more about me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a grind.
So you do more. You think marketing is a bigger part of the workload than writing the book itself?
It's definitely taking more of my daytime.
That's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Because when you were a natural or really good at something, you can kick it out pretty fast, right? You get in the flow and you're just like, oh, you don't even think about the clock, right?
Right.
But so the writing part didn't take
It's
too
nothing
long.
to you, really.
No,
once
I
all
do
your
the
facts,
research, yeah.
Yeah, because and when you're doing all this stuff, like 100 things in Wichita, you probably have all of that stuff written down just from your experiences over time, and you're just putting them together for this book.
I mean,
is that how that works?
Kind of. Some of that came from that, but I also had to go revisit quite a few places across all sides of town.
Reaching out and going to new places.
Oh, yes.
Just to write a chapter or something about them in your book.
Well, yeah, there's 4 or 5. I don't want to get this wrong. I think there's 5 sections in the book. So let's just say it was food and drink, of which Wichita is heavy on the restaurant industry.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to that.
Yeah. I fit in like 28. Okay. So, but just to confirm things, like right before the final review of my manuscript, I might call up a couple places or revisit them and be like, okay, you promised me you're going to have this cocktail that's usually requested on the menu. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't want anything to be wrong.
Yeah,
I think that's my worst fear.
For sure. And then you have somebody from the restaurant calling you up saying, hey, what the hell are you doing?
Gosh.
You just wrote something false about us.
And so I have revisited some places, and I've introduced myself. I'm the author of the book, and I included your place in the book. And they'll say, I know, I read it, or I've seen it, and then I just wait. It's like a dramatic pause for me. I'm like, please, did I get it right? And they say, oh, we loved it. I'm like, oh, God, good.
Yeah, you don't want to hear them go, oh, man, I hated it.
Well, you got most of it right, but that one part is incorrect. We don't do that here anymore.
Yeah.
Oh. So the book, actually, the reason I think I was approached about it is because I've been doing writing as a ghostwriter. Do you know what that is?
I do.
Yeah, ghostwriting.
Because I know who Drake is. Sorry, Drake lovers. I'm not a hater.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, I know ghostwriters.
Yeah.
So you actually ghostwrite for people.
Oh yeah, I've ghostwritten for investment bankers.
You gonna call anybody out?
No, I can't. But I can tell you, I did some ghostwriting for Visit Wichita, and so and I've been blogging about travel and food for a long time. So, those were 2 things that probably got me.
Got you where you're at.
Yeah, I think so. They got me the book gig for sure.
It's crazy how big of a food town Wichita is,
Yes.
People don't really realize that until you point it out. You're like, think about the amount of restaurants that we have in like a square mile of Wichita. It's insane. And they just keep adding new ones.
And duplicates. And yeah. But I really try to avoid chain restaurants.
Good for you.
Unless it was a franchise that was established in Wichita first. You might know which ones I'm thinking of.
I know of a big one. Freddy's.
Yeah, good job, man.
Shout out to Freddy's.
Yeah. Or Pizza Hut.
Or Pizza Hut.
I mean, this is a town that has Gambino's. I'll be going there afterwards, hopefully.
Yes, Gambino's original.
Yeah, but if it's, that's what you eat when you're in town, and then you probably think, no way to Pizza Hut. But for me, Pizza Hut is my jam.
Pizza Hut's your jam?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
There's a debate in our house when it comes to delivery.
Yeah.
I typically win,
See,
even if I have to buy the pizza.
Yeah. See, I would be in a hot debate with you about that one.
Yeah.
For chain pizza,
Oh, you could write something about it, couldn't you?
I don't want to get into this war with you.
It could be fun. Maybe later.
I can call out another one though. White Castle.
Yeah.
They bailed.
Yeah, they did. They didn't make the book. There's no reference. I don't think I referenced White Castle.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's been like 70 or 80 years, I think, since they've even
Yeah.
been here.
I try to include some historical stuff, though. Like every once in a while at the bottom of the page, there's an insider tip or extra something. And maybe it's just about finding parking in a hard-to-find, neighborhood, or parking in a neighborhood that's always crowded or something.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's just like, did you know this is an off-menu item? Or ask the manager about this or whatever. So
I can't wait to read that.
yeah.
I always like ordering off menu stuff that is kind of secretive. People don't know about.
So I always ask the server before they can even get my order started to, they say, what do you want? I say, well, hold on a second. What is it that you order that's maybe off menu, or you're piecing things together to create your own meal? Because I've worked as a server many times,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that you get tired of the standard stuff. So you start putting things together. Maybe you add this to that.
Yeah.
The kitchen will do it for you, especially if it's late night, right?
Oh, yeah.
And when they tell you that, that's a gem, because no one thinks to ask that.
That's true. Except for foodies.
I guess I'm a real foodie.
Yeah. Because if you're with a group of people that aren't foodies and you ask that, sometimes they're kind of weirded out by it. Like, what are you doing? Just get something normal.
Yeah. And
know?
it takes longer to get the order in, but I'm just like, it's worth it. Just hold on, everybody.
Well, I used to work at Taliano's when I was in high school. I don't know if you remember where that was or not.
I don't.
It was
Tell me
on
more.
13th and Tyler. It was a well-known pizza joint in Wichita back in the day, and they had a buffet and everything. So I worked there with a bunch of my friends in high school, and we were probably jackasses back there in the kitchen, but we would make big double-decker pizzas with like a crust on top of it, and then we'd add like pulled pork, jalapenos, pineapples, barbecue sauce, like just weird stuff, but it was amazing. And we would make special stuff like that for people sometimes. Yeah.
And then you would take it home or feed it to your roommates or something, and they'd be like, dude, this is so good.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I worked at Yellow Sub in Lawrence, which is like Planet Sub in Wichita, same franchise. Got a little crafty with those sandwiches. They were good.
Oh, yeah. That's the fun about it.
Yeah, but so to be a writer, it kind of helps me that I worked in the service industry, because you have to be comfortable talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way you're going to get like a true story out of someone. And some people just don't like talking to other people. I mean, there's a reason some people work in the back of a kitchen, or like they don't want to be up front because they're in their niche back there, and they just assume not talk to the travel writer who's sitting in the dining room. But
that's true. And it is different for a travel writer too, I think, versus there's got to be other authors out there that just like to be in their room all day writing a novel or something.
Oh, yeah.
Fiction? Yeah, like a fiction
No
story.
way. I could never do
Those
that.
people are total introverts, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, and they do have to get out and do research, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There's a balance for me between sitting at the desk, and I think my max is like 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's really if I'm in the flow of something, researching, writing. But yeah, you got to take breaks. You got to drink beer sometimes.
Sometimes you have to.
I mean, honestly, sometimes I've written better. Don't tell my clients this because I don't do it for them. But I've written better for my own travel writing after having been at a brewery.
Oh, yeah.
Or a winery.
100%. Yeah.
Whatever. So
I can definitely see how that would work.
Yeah.
You get a little more creative. You get loosen up a little bit. For sure.
The juice is flowing.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, the book's been a lot of fun. I just feel like I said the other day to a friend of mine, I said, I think I like my job more now than I've ever liked it.
You finally got to a point where you're like, I've made it to where I've wanted to be?
I mean, I think so, but I don't know. I never knew I was going to be an author,
Yeah.
Like I would
It
never
kind of fell into
predicted
place.
that. Right.
Tell me a little bit more about your journey there, because fill in the holes for us on like what you did between being a server, between blogging and stuff. What was your goal before they reached out to you to write this book?
So how far back are we going? We're going to go.
Oh, we don't need to go like crazy far back. Like, I guess when you first started venturing into the writing world.
Yeah. Well, I've always done writing for people on the side. So I guess, for a little stint, I didn't live in Wichita. I went out to the Colorado mountains, and I lived out there for like 3 years. And I came back and pursued teaching in Towanda, Kansas at Circle High School. I was a teacher there for 7 years. And I taught writing. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
English.
Perfect.
Journalism. I built out their,
You've done a lot of things.
Yearbook. Yeah. That's what
Worked a
my
lot of
mom
jobs.
says. Yes. Yeah, but you know what? I think that makes me a better writer. I mean, just think about all the different kinds of people I've met, places I've been, and made me more comfortable. So
yeah, the more experience as a writer, the better for sure.
Yeah, so I taught high school kids for 7 years, and I had to leave the profession for my own reasons. But I knew I was going to pursue writing always. And I went into marketing, which I've always enjoyed marketing. It's, it's just like taking a product or a service or someone's story and getting it out into the world, for better.
Well, it's still writing too. You're learning about a product or a service and you're wording it perfectly on social media or whatever so that it draws people in.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So, my journalism degree helped a lot with that. And then I just decided that I really like social media. And this was several years ago. And I was writing every day, right? And whenever somebody converts, that engagement, it is a dopamine high, okay? When someone comments, like, because your writing hooked them, and they ask more, and then my client sells something, or, they make the phone call and it converts or whatever. That's a good thing. That feels good.
Well, it's a drug, yeah.
It really is.
That's why so many people are addicted to it.
Yeah, right. So I just thought, how can I use this for what I want to do? Because I've clearly figured this out. And then I went and worked. Well, I worked for an agency for a while, for about almost 4 years, but I really wanted to do more of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I just took the leap of faith. Like, I saved up enough money to like support myself for a good while, but then, I read all the government stuff online about how do you file for an LLC and when do you need to get an accountant and when do you owe money? Good stuff, and you just go for it.
When do we get to take some of your money?
And
That's what it's all about.
It's pretty soon, like after you start.
Yeah.
Depends on what part of the calendar year you start, but
yep, they're always getting their share.
Right.
You're never getting away from that.
But my accountant bought my book last week, and that felt pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm buying a book today.
You are?
I am.
Okay, awesome.
If you're serious about the trunk thing.
I think I've got one in the back of my car. If I don't, I'll make sure I deliver it to you.
If not, I'll figure out another way.
Yeah.
I do want it signed though.
Yes, I want to personalize it for you, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Hell
I'll write
yes.
cheers on it. No, that's actually something that they encourage authors to do at book signing events.
Personalize the message?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you've ever bought a book that was autographed by the author, it's usually just the autograph on the inside page.
Yeah.
And that's, great and all, but if you are making the effort to come find me at an event, whether I know you or not, I'll at least take a few minutes and, ask you, like, what brought you here to buy my book? Are you from Wichita?
Yeah.
Are you a foodie? Are you a museum goer? Are you an outdoorsy person?
But you're all of those, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to think so. Yeah, you'll probably find me. It says in my bio for the book. I think you'll love this last line. Okay, it says, when she's not doing what she does for a living, writing books or whatever, you could probably find her drinking craft beer somewhere or wandering through a museum or something like that. Yeah, because I don't know. I honestly think, and I think creative people are like this, whether you're a photographer or you're a videographer or whatever, you just see your surroundings with a different lens. Like you're looking at detail all the time. Well, you can't help it.
Yeah.
So yes, I cruised around town before I went on the mic today because I was looking for like something that would inspire me to like stop the car, get out.
Just grab your heartstrings.
A little bit.
Get the camera out.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing better than a small town in Kansas.
That's true. I'm a big fan of Kansas, which makes me go back to, I don't know if you want to admit it or not, but you bailed on us for a little while there.
I did?
You bailed out of Wichita. You went to Colorado for 3 years.
I'm like, in this conversation? What did I do?
No.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because of the the article in the Wichita Eagle that I read about you.
Sure.
And I think it was worded that way. Like, I left because I didn't like it or something like that. And I was out of here. And then you came back to love it.
You know, the beauty of a podcast is that it's always a direct quote.
Yes.
Like, you can't take it out of context. No, she did a good job. Amy did a great job. But I think what you're talking about is like when I left town for a little while. And I talk about this in the foreword of the book. Like the first few lines, I don't want to give the whole thing away, but you know, I had to be very transparent and be like, yes, I'm from Wichita, but let me be clear, there were 2 times that I moved away.
And what were the reasons for that?
Sure. So the first time was to pursue that degree at KU.
Okay.
So I lived in Lawrence.
Well, that doesn't really count.
I think it does because I didn't come home that often.
Yeah, but you weren't like leaving going, okay, I'm done with Wichita, I'm out of here, something better.
It felt like it, man.
Did it?
Yeah, I was ready to go.
Okay.
But I mean, you're young, right? Like,
yeah,
you're just
yeah.
like, I've lived here my whole life, and that campus looks awesome. I want to go there. They had a really good journalism. They do have a really good journalism school, so that was the driving force. But anyway, I loved Lawrence, Larryville so much. I stayed a little bit longer than most graduates. We'll just say that.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I still go back to Manhattan sometimes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Even though I'm too old to admit it.
I've been to Manhattan twice in the last 6 months. I love it there.
Yeah. You're probably not passing out on someone's floor, though,
no,
on Friday
those
night.
days are over.
Not for me. Not yet.
It hurts too bad. So, no, I lived in Lawrence for a while, and then I came home, and then I took a vacation out to Colorado in the summer. So I had a weird perception of what the mountains were like, because when you live out there, it's not like the summer very much. It's like 2 months out of the year when you live in the mountains feels like 65 degrees and blue skies, right?
Yeah.
And then the rest is shoveling snow off the top of your car like 3 times a day. You know,
So
it's
you
just a
got
different lifestyle.
Yeah, you got the little slice of Colorado that's perfect weather.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I'm gone. So I packed up the car and I drove out, and I had a job waiting. I mean, I went out and got a job first, but it was a hustle. Like, if you want to live in a resort town, you have to work multiple jobs or
It's expensive.
have a partner or something, because it's a lot. And I think I just got tired of living with roommates and
Yeah.
not being as creative or whatever as I wanted to be. So I came back.
So you came back, and then you really fell in love, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if the
that's what
newspaper
article-
quotes are
no, that's
very
exactly
true.
Right. No, it's exactly right. And I do say that in the book too. Like, when I left, downtown Wichita was like becoming reborn again. Like, Intrust Bank Arena had just been voted on.
Yeah.
And so by the time I came back, 3 years later, I was seeing things I hadn't seen before, and there were more entertainment opportunities.
Yep.
Storefronts were basically full again on Douglas Avenue, and I was like, oh, I really like what's going on down here. Breweries were popping up everywhere.
Yeah. What a time to be alive for craft beer.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. And that was a hard decision, picking which one's the spotlight in the book.
Yeah. I can
So,
see that for sure.
I look forward to hearing from you what you think.
Oh,
Do you see the
when
book?
I read the book and
Yeah.
see your opinion on
Yeah.
things?
For sure. About breweries specifically.
Are you giving your opinion? Like, are you saying this is my favorite in the city, or are you just kind of giving an overview of historical and popular places?
An overview would be like pretty basic and kind of just like, yeah, okay, it's like, these are the hours, this is what they serve on the menu. No, I was able to inject some of my own personality into the book. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not written in first person like, I think you should order the funnel cake on the dessert menu or whatever, but
But you show us a little bit of who you are and what you prefer, and
yeah, for sure. I'm telling you what to go check out around the corner. I mean, it's my opinion.
yeah,
For sure.
Did you ever go to any sketchy places when you were researching for this book?
Yeah, I mean, there are some sketchy neighborhoods where good food can be found, or a museum can be found.
Yeah.
And you just have to pony up. You just got to do it.
Did you
maybe
ever
go during the
eat-
day? I don't know.
Have you ever eaten at like Pleasures or a strip club or something like that?
Gosh, no.
Because they do serve food.
Yes, they do, but that did not make the cut.
No.
No, it did not.
I've never had the balls to go and eat at a strip
I was
club.
just going to
or
say, have
anything.
you? You
no,
brought it up.
No. I'm just curious because people like you that, tend to go everywhere. I'm assuming you've been to a lot of places
I have.
in Wichita.
I mean, just like last night, for the first time, I had steak tartare.
Yeah. Raw steak.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I mean, after 2 martinis, it sounded like a great idea. And I'm like, at least I can write about it, right?
Yeah.
What would Anthony Bourdain want me to do?
he would want you to slam down those martinis and eat that raw beef.
I did it, and I loved it.
It's amazing.
So the person I was dining with said, "It's not for me. You can have the rest." And I said, "Fine, I'm okay with it." But it's just sometimes I'll just try something just to say that I did it, even if I don't like it.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do fall in love with it. Like growing up out in Colwich, Kansas, I'd never experienced sushi really. Sure. And the first times I did experience it, I was still like, I don't know about that. I wasn't familiar with it at all.
Right.
Now I'll go to a Sapporo or Ninja and I'll get a plate of sashimi, you know, which is just raw cuts of fish. It's not the rolls shit that people eat, the fake stuff.
Well, that's a good gateway into sushi is to have like the California roll, right?
It is. That's how I got into it. So no disrespect.
And then you're trying sake,
and then you're getting hot sake.
Right.
Which is a totally different thing.
Yeah. So, I will go into some neighborhoods and do stuff. I guess I do have my limits. I'm not going to strip clubs and ordering a sandwich.
It was just a question. I wasn't encouraging you to.
But maybe you have some places you want me to check out. Make me a short list. And
I mean, I'm sure you've been to some really good places that are kind of on the. I don't know if I'd walk in there.
Yeah.
There's some places I can think of that especially people like Wichita by EB writes about that are like I don't think you would want to walk in here.
Or you don't even realize like if they're open, like they're kind of nondescript. You can't tell much about the business until you open the door. You need someone like me or him to give you like the go ahead, right?
Exactly.
Like, okay.
We need it in writing from you in your book saying, just do it. It's not that bad.
And also I think Wichita, we talk about restaurants all the time, but and that's something we do as a community. We go out to eat a lot, right? Or we get it to go and we bring it home. But our community is pretty good about going to museums, going to attractions. I mean, I was just reading about this cool event they're going to have this summer where there's going to be like inflatables and like trampolines on the water.
Yeah.
And it's like, you and your family could go out there and you do these mega slides. We have great festivals.
For sure.
So we have a lot of things that bring the community out. We have great live music in Wichita,
There are a lot of good places you can go and listen to a live band, have a drink.
Mm-hmm. And really any given night, if you just know the right bar to go to, there's someone playing live. You can go to Barleycorns, Mort's. I'm trying to think of the Shamrock.
Hell, even some off-the-wall places now, like Medis and stuff, are doing live music on the weekends.
Yeah. And I applaud them for that because, some restaurants are like, no, this is what we do. But, those musicians have friends and those friends have friends and it brings in diners. It brings in
for
money.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So, and it just makes it more fun when you see it like a Facebook event that says like there's this plus this whole lineup. Well, I'm there.
Well, yeah. And just being at a bar or something and there's live music, that always makes it more enjoyable, I feel like.
Yeah.
When I'm with some friends, we'll be like, oh, look, they got a live band. Let's stick around.
And I always empathize with the guys or the gals in the band because it's the same freelancer hustle, right? They either had to approach the place and ask for the gig and say, well, I've played these other places, so I'm worthy. Listen to my music if you don't already know. Or, that place reached out to them and they have to rise to the occasion. If their set has to be 2 45-minute sets and it gets them into like 11:30 at night and they've got a day job the next day, that's what it is.
That's the hustle, yeah.
Yeah, so
that's part of it.
Keep grinding.
Yep, and the grind is important for somebody like you.
Yeah, it keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
For sure. Like I said, sometimes when you're a freelancer, it can be, and other people warn me about this, like there'll be times in your career from even month to month where it's going to be real low, like there'll be lulls, and you just have like your regular day-to-day work.
Lulls in like your writing flow, your workflow?
Oh, great question. Like money.
Like money, okay.
Like money's not flowing in as much as it did from the last month. Because sometimes people hire you to do one-off projects. Like we just need you to write like 1 blog post for us or 3 or whatever it is. And so so maybe that's when you have time to work on a book, right? So at some point, like right now for me, it feels like my head is spinning. It feels like I can't catch up because I have like 20 post-it notes on my desk of like not one of them says take a break for a beer.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me today.
Well, at least you're still kind of promoting and working right now, right?
Yeah, this is totally work. I'm going to claim these miles at Colwich.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
I would consider it work, and you can enjoy a hazy IPA while you do it. So
yeah. So travel writers love discovering new places, and I have not been to shout out to Limitless Brewing Company.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to you, Limitless. If you want to sponsor me, let me know.
Yeah. So that's another part of working in social media, is that when you get to a certain point, you do start pitching or reaching out and saying, like, here's my media kit. Here's how many people follow me. This is how much engagement I get.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should partner. And then either I'm dining at your restaurant or I'm going to drink your beer.
Yeah.
Pour it in a glass, make a reel out of it, make it look good.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I got paid to drink beer.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's pretty awesome. It's pretty badass in my opinion.
You probably couldn't change my mind and make me go back to sit 8 hours at a time in an office ever again.
Right.
Working for somebody else.
It's kind of scary though, doing those things, like when you have to reach out, and because I recently have been doing this too.
Yeah.
I got New Way to sponsor me. And
you did?
Yeah, New Way sponsored me. They sent me a bunch of gift certificates and 2 Frosty mugs and 2 jugs of root beer.
I was going to say, did you get like a gallon of root beer? I hope so.
Yeah, they gave me 2 liters of it. That was all because my guests wanted to drink root beer, and so I was trying to think, like, what's the best root beer to get here? Well, New Way has my favorite root beer.
The only one.
So I literally just reached out to them, like, hey, if I drink your root beer on here, would you be down to sponsor me? And they were like, resounding yes. You know, we'll give you all these coupons to hand out. We'll give you these mugs to drink it out of. And it's like, that was so worth it just to do that and reach out, you know?
And it's fun. And then at some point you realize that in your business, whenever you get to a certain point, maybe it's number of downloads, listeners, for me it's clicks, whatever, that, or shares, is that you can say, you know, I don't work for trade anymore. I'm not working for trading beer or food or whatever, you know, museum tickets.
It needs to grow more.
Like, that's just part of the proposal. But here's my rate.
Yeah.
And one thing about my industry, this has been my experience so far, I don't know what it's like for everybody else, but I've gathered it might be like mine, is that we don't talk about how much we charge to each other in the industry. So if I ran across another travel writer, I wouldn't ask them, like, what do you charge? Are you charging, you know, what exactly is the amount?
Yeah.
So for me, I make sure I just, I charge for mileage, my time spent writing and doing the research. And then if you bring me to town to do something, it's going to have to be on, your dime. So you have to reach out to the restaurants, the museums, and make sure everything's comped when I show up. It's always interesting. I just got off the road from a town in Kansas, and everybody knew I was coming, all the places I was to visit on this itinerary.
Yeah.
I do have some time to explore, but usually there's an itinerary. But then I walked into one, they're like, who are you? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm doing the pitch all over again. It's like, I'm here for visits, or explore whomever. And here's my card. And I talked to so-and-so. And you are going to serve me a drink. And I am not paying for it.
And I'm not paying a damn thing.
It works.
Every time?
I would say 99% of the time.
Why would you say that in your industry it's weird to talk about that?
I wish it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know exactly. Like, if you get close to someone and you're like a close friend, then maybe you'll divulge like what your package rates are.
Yeah. If
you do package rates, I don't, or how you pitch. But you just got to think about like what your worth is and how much time you're spending. You have a general idea, but who knows if the person across Kansas is charging twice as much as me and I'm still cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know I'm not outpricing myself because I'm getting work, but I also know I'm not the cheapest one.
That's such a weird thing. It's kind of like being in the corporate world too, where nobody discusses their salaries and stuff.
Exactly.
And what's the real reasoning behind that?
And
Is
like
it to keep you underpaid? Or?
Yeah, I remember working in an office environment, and like, so everybody got a bonus for Christmas of some sort, right? But I haven't worked here as long as that person, so I know mine's not as high as theirs. There's just that ambiguity that's so weird.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and it makes it awkward sometimes, and you can tell that person's upset, or you yourself are upset. And it's just, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm right down the middle of the road, which is helping me still get work. I'm not outpricing for where I live, and I think it feels like it. I feel like this book is going to help me get more work. Better work.
I was going to say,
more money.
Until your book gets on everybody's bookshelves out there, and then you're going to be way overpriced for these smaller places that wanted you to come.
Oh, please. I really want the book to be like, and I said this to the Wichita Eagle, I want the book to be like literally left in your car, right? Because if you leave it at home on a bookshelf, you're never going to touch it.
True.
And it's, do you remember when you were a kid in those choose your own adventure books?
I think so.
Okay. So they were really fun. You could check them out from the library. It was a series called Choose Your Own Adventure. It's a trademark series.
Yeah.
And you would be reading for like 25 pages of this little book, and then it would say at the very bottom of page 25, it'd say, if you want Johnny to scale the mountain and whatever, turn to page 43.
Yeah, I know what you're
but
talking
if
about.
you don't, if you want him to take a U-turn and go back and blah, 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 turn to page 89.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing.
That is cool.
And I just used to get so wrapped up in those books. Another thing I used to do is I would take a book, like a dictionary. I mean, what a writer dork am I? I would take a dictionary and like flip through it and just like stop my finger on a page without looking at the page.
And then what?
And then like, I don't know, learn about it.
Then just learn about those words?
Or like spin a globe and like don't look where it's going and just stop your finger on a spot. Oh, I'm going to go to Africa someday. I mean, maybe not.
That's cool. The dictionary one's kind of weird, though, right?
That's
kind of nerdy.
Yep, that would be me. So I feel like this book could be treated in that way, and that you could just literally flip through the pages.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is divided into 5 different categories. But if your finger, and you have to make a mental commitment, okay? Especially if you're with a friend or family member. Wherever your finger stops, that's where we're going on Saturday.
That's such a hard thing to do.
Why?
For people like me, at least, because I would be like, hey, you want to go to Wichita Brewing Company? Actually, you know what sounds good, though, is a steak over here or pizza from here. The indecisiveness is rough, and I'm hard to commit to something.
You could go to both. You could start with my idea and then end up at your idea, or vice versa.
Just be a super fat ass and eat like 2 dinners or 3 dinners.
That is part of the travel writing gig, is that you eat a lot. I went on a Kansas road trip through like 15 towns over the course of what ended up being about 2 weeks, all along Kansas I-70. I gained 8 pounds. I mean,
you're doing it right.
When you go to a small town, they're known for like mega food.
Greasy food.
Food, everything's
greasy
fried.
Diner food.
Steaks.
Yeah.
Donut shops.
Oh, yeah.
So you just eat like that on the road. But
hey,
you're eating well, but at some point you're kind of like, oh my gosh.
In the words of the late, great Bourdain,
yeah,
your body isn't a temple, it's an amusement park. Enjoy the ride.
That's right. Oh, that's a good one. Speaking of amusement parks, can we please talk about your t-shirt?
Yeah, look at that, everybody. Joyland. Did that one make the cut for the book? Probably not.
No,
it's not around.
It's closed.
You can still sneak in there and look at all the graffiti and stuff.
I don't know if you really. I mean, you probably could. People still start fires over there. Unfortunately, I feel so bad for the people that live in that area and own that property. But Joyland. Okay, I'm gonna age myself here. Yeah. But I also have the same T-shirt. Just to be completely transparent, I said that to you when I walked in. I was like, I should have worn my T-shirt.
It's a great T-shirt.
What if I had?
That'd have been really weird. That would have been like meant to be.
It's so crazy.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's those nostalgic things that Wichitans like to talk about in groups on Facebook. I mean, there's like, do you remember when in Wichita? There's a Facebook group for that. Joyland fits in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about Joyland just for a second.
Let's do it.
You went there.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you? What do you remember?
I want to say I was probably 10 or so.
Okay.
The last time I went there and actually rode on rides and enjoyed the park and everything. I don't know when they closed down for sure, but I want to say like 05 or 06, and I was probably around 10 years old back then.
Yeah. And when you went into the park and you're with a friend, you took off running, right?
Oh, yeah.
You did casually walk to a ride.
Oh, no, you ran across that little bridge they had at the beginning.
Yes.
As soon as you got your tickets,
right,
you ran across that bridge.
And you heard the pipe organ playing.
You heard the pipe organ. You saw the clown over there doing his thing.
Looking back at you in the mirror.
Creepy stuff.
Yeah. And then, where'd you run to?
I always wanted to go to the Wacky Shack.
Everybody says that.
Yeah.
I haven't met anybody that says I went right for the roller coaster.
No, I don't think I ever did go for the roller coaster. The Wacky Shack was my thing, but I was terrified. I don't know why I enjoyed it so much, because before I got on that ride, I was shaking. I was like, I can't believe
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it was your first time.
It was horrifying.
Yeah. So the Wacky Shack was a good one if you could convince like the girl you liked or the boy you liked to ride in your car.
Yeah.
Because it was dark, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's going to get scared.
You got to
And then
grab each other.
Yeah. Do you remember you would come out and there'd just be like that strip of open air and you could see all your friends waiting in line and then it would take you right back in. You'd be like, I made it this far. Hi, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Tilt-a-whirl. So, fun fact about the roller coaster, not historical, just a personal anecdote, is that I had to be bribed to get on it, and it is the only roller coaster I've ridden.
Are you serious?
Totally.
The only roller coaster you've ridden in your life?
Correct.
You're kidding me.
I don't like them. But I survived. And
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a cool one to do it for, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was wooden. It had a little sway to it, you know?
It had a lot of creaking to it.
Right.
It had that sign. I can't remember what it said, but right when you get to the top of the hill, there was a sign there that said, "Turn back now."
No, it didn't. Did it really?
I might be misquoting it. I don't want to misquote it, but it said something.
Your life is over.
It's iconic. Like, yeah, this is it. You know. And I remember going, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
And then that first hill, it was a good one. That was a good roller
steep
coaster.
hill, yeah. So, but now looking back at the pictures of Joyland with nostalgia, you think like the roller coaster wasn't that big,
No,
you know, and stuff like that. But maybe we can get another amusement park in Wichita.
that would be cool.
Put one in Colwich. I'll drive here.
Hey, when I become mayor, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, more about that. I want to write your story.
I'll let you write my story when I do go down that road.
Okay.
That's
sounds good.
way down the road. So
Yeah, so lots of nostalgia in Wichita, and I know that when people read the book, they're looking for certain things. But yes, everything in the book is currently open for operation.
you want to hear a secret?
Yeah.
This might be a crime, so hopefully I don't get arrested for it.
Okay.
But I snuck into Joyland probably 4 or 5 years ago and took a bunch of pictures.
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
I haven't done it. I promise. But a lot of people like to go in there because it's all dilapidated.
It is. And that was actually right after the Wacky Shack burned down, if I remember right. But what's crazy is like the log jam. That was one of my favorite things too, was the log jam.
Yeah.
I went over to that area there and it's all still there, just how it was.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some graffiti and stuff here and there, but I'm like, wow, this is exactly where you got on the log jam. That whole little cabin hut area is still there.
Sure.
It's cool. And the big green slide is still over there.
Oh, that's so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what in Wichita or just, you know, Kansas? We can talk about Kansas too. I've traveled quite a bit. What's a place that you're just so glad that you discovered it? Maybe somebody told you about it, or you're just like, everybody needs to come here.
That's a good one.
I'm interviewing you now, journalist of me.
That is a good one. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I can off the top of my head. There's definitely been some areas, like some parks that almost feel like a national park. I don't know if they are or not. That I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm in Kansas right now because I'm walking around on big rocks and cliffs and stuff.
Right. Monument Rocks.
Monument Rocks, yeah.
That was part of my trip on I-70. I did that all solo too.
Really?
And it was like 102 degrees the day I went to Monument Rocks.
Yeah.
And when you are sent to a town, you don't change the date because it's hot. Like you just hit the road and you go. And so I remember you turn this way, you turn this way. It takes a while to get out there outside of Oakley, Kansas. And then I drove over these cattle grates. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, cattle grates.
Yeah.
By a fence.
Right.
Or by a gate.
And then I drove over, not on, let me be clear, like a big snake. I was like, okay, am I going to want to get out of the car when I get to this place? And where is it? Because I still don't see it. But then you see it and you're like, no way.
Yeah.
And it's so bright and it's so white, you know.
And it's like, how did it get there?
Well, it has a story.
Does it?
Read my blog post about it.
Okay, I will.
But you know, I was out there alone, which was really surreal. And then it was hot, so the sun is blazing. It's bright, and it's like you're on another planet.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's moments where I feel like people undersell where you're from or your home state or whatever. And you're like, you need someone to say, "Come with me." Mm-hmm. Even in book form or blog post form or video, or we have some great videographers in the state that make short films and stuff. Like, just give it a moment.
Just take the leap.
Yeah.
And if you need a book like yours to accompany you on the way, or a podcast, get in your car and do it. You're not alone. Go find these places and just take the leap because you're going to be happy you did.
Right.
It's better than sitting inside all day.
And sometimes you wonder, when you're a creative person doing stuff like this, like we are people really reading the whole thing or listening to the whole thing? Did they care enough to like click on another one? Or was it just this topic that they wanted to know about? And so you kind of wonder, even while I'm writing anyway, is this going to resonate with like the audience that I want it to be for? You know, and it's it's kind of a risk, but when you are somewhere and like that lady was like, "You're you. I've seen your picture.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I read your blog. I went to Newton, Kansas, or I went to wherever because you said I should.
Yeah.
And I took my daughter, or I took my family." I'm like, yes.
That's what I like to hear. That's the whole reason you're doing it, right? At the end of the day, aside from making money and.
Well, again, I don't know if I already mentioned this. I think I did, but I'm a real strong fan of supporting local.
Yeah.
And so I know that if I can play it up, that entices people to come to the town, even if they only go to one spot, like a restaurant or museum or whatever. But if I can get them to stay in town, they just brought their dollars to town. How does that equate for the chamber or the city of, or the small business in town?
Right.
And I have found that more people are getting more creative with their marketing dollars, and they're willing to hire someone like me who's a native and says, yeah, come to town. We'll pay you to do this. We've never done this before. We've never hired a travel writer. I kind of walk them through it.
Yeah, we can tell because you don't have any promotion out there. We can, there's a lot of places like that.
Yeah, they have like a book or like a pamphlet and their website, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. It's more important than ever, though, don't you think? Right now in today's world, I had a digital marketer on here that was talking to me about this, and she said, if you're a restaurant, you have to have a social media pages. Yeah.
Yeah. And like the businesses where you're like, oh, I've heard of that place. Let's just say it was that michelada place, right? Mm-hmm. And we're like, surely they have Facebook. And they do, but they haven't kept it up.
But there's nothing on there, really.
And the hours aren't correct.
Yeah.
Actually, they've already closed. Never mind, we're not going. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's frustrating. So, at the very least, a business has to maintain some sort of consistency on social media. Mm-hmm. If you want to grow, you're going to have to start paying attention to what your competitors are doing and be comfortable with either learning how to do this stuff yourself, like making video for your social media, or outsourcing it to somebody who knows how. You just ask for help.
Yeah.
I mean, and especially since COVID, there's so many accounts that have just gone dead. And I want to be like, but you're still in business. Like, let me help you. But I'm only one person. They got to do it themselves. So
they got to take the initiative. And a lot of them are old school, too. They're older people sometimes, and they don't really recognize the importance that it has on their business.
Yep. That's exactly right.
It's just so important today. I mean, just like you said, if we're going to go out to eat tonight and I'm trying to pick a restaurant, we're going to look at all these social media pages. We're going to look at Google reviews or Yahoo reviews. We're going to look for updated hours. We're going to look for pictures.
We're
Pictures
vetting it
are a
out
huge
first.
part.
We want to know how good looking is the food, right?
Yes.
Is the service any good? I'm not going to spend money in some fine dining place because I don't do that very often and have the service be like horrible, but the one dish I had was great. Okay, great. Or it's like super small plates. I'm looking for a big plate tonight. I want something hearty and comforting. You go look for that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, you're right. But I'm optimistic about this because I am seeing that a lot of people are putting in the effort. And like I said, they're thinking like, okay, I know I need to do this. If it's a town, if it's an economic development group, it's a downtown of something, they're saying, well, this other town did it. It seemed to work for them. And when someone hires me to write, they can use that in a way that's more evergreen than just that one time I was there, right?
Yeah.
They could piece that out, just do like spotlight on this one business, but I did a whole roundup, right? Mm-hmm. They often put it in their newsletter, which is great. That reaches a bigger audience.
You can even just pull like single quotes out or something to promote this or promote that.
Yeah.
You can take that whole piece.
We should work together.
Yeah, we should.
Maybe we should work on one collaboration project and see how it goes.
What do you want to do?
Gosh, I don't know.
Because I'm passionate about this stuff as well. I love local stuff. I love talking to local people. I'm big on all of that stuff.
Well, you talked about wanting to be the mayor of your town.
Yeah, I do want to do that. I really do. Yeah.
And what is one thing that you would definitely want to highlight about this town if more people just knew what about this town?
Well,
that's really the driving thought.
Yeah. In my opinion, small towns can be taken over by rental properties and too many properties that are just for duplexes or for rental houses.
Quick
and
flips.
Really the only way, and again, this is my opinion, I could be wrong, but the only way that I see a town thrive, like a small town thrive, is if there's families that live there for a while and they raise their children there.
Yep.
And their children play with the other children and they form a community
Roots.
and stuff. And
Yeah.
just doing a 1-year lease or a 1-year contract for a rental property, I see that being detrimental to a small town because they're in and out looking for a cheap place to go.
Yep.
Maybe they don't care. They're not passionate about it. A lot of people that rent, and no disrespect people that rent, but a lot of them aren't passionate about the community they live in, especially if they're from out of town and they're just there just
It's
because
kind of like it's a means to an end.
Yeah.
Maybe this is not where they're going to live forever.
Right.
But it's just what I need to do for now. And you see that in college towns because having lived in a couple of them, like they just, when everyone leaves for the school year, the town just like deflates.
Yeah.
Right?
It's totally different.
And if you don't have something that's bringing people to town because the parents aren't coming and all the things, right? Then where's the money being spent? So I would agree with you on that. So let's maybe think about like, if it's family oriented, because it's a small town in Kansas, right? Maybe you don't have a historic theater. Maybe you don't have like the draw to bring people in town. You want people to be happy to live here, and maybe they'll tell other people, and then they'll move.
Yeah. I've been to other small towns before where there's just a feel in the air. You have a small ice cream shop that families are out at. There's some live music in the park they're walking down to together, bringing their lawn chairs.
Yes.
They're stopping in each other's yards and throwing some bags. There's just a feel that it comes with it. And it used to be like that a lot more in college, I feel like, when I was a kid. And it's just drifted further and further away. So at some point I might run for mayor just to see what
I think it's this year. Is that possible?
It's not possible this year.
Okay,
no.
not this year. But it's in the near future.
Hopefully, yeah.
All
Hopefully.
right.
We'll see what happens.
I'll
but-
help you with your campaign messaging.
You want to?
For real. I'll do it. I'm very passionate about maintaining small towns. It really bothers me when I'm traveling from town to town and I see like empty storefronts. It even bothered me when I saw Wichita,
Yes.
downtown looking like that. It still has some businesses that are empty, but for the most part, it's revitalized, right? So, but it takes a lot of urban planning. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of resources. It's not a simple fix.
It's not.
But when you do get them there, it's like, how do you retain them?
Yeah.
Are we offering what people want?
Yeah.
Again, back to that planning. But yeah, it kills me when I'm, cruising through a town. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's sad, It pulls those heartstrings, kind of like on Cars when they're rolling down Route 66. Have you ever seen Cars?
Cars?
The animated movie.
Oh yeah,
Cars?
the movie. Yeah.
And they're rolling down Route 66, and you see all those places, or they're in Radiator
Yeah.
Springs. That resonates with me. I'm like, man, I don't want to see that happen. Because when I was a kid, it was Mayberry. We were going up to the baseball fields, and everybody was there.
And you guys
All
have
of the
beautiful
kids.
baseball fields here.
Yeah, and those are new, actually. The old ones are down more into the
I
city.
almost pulled over before here. I was like, I only have like 15 minutes, so I'm not going to. But
Yeah.
maybe on my way home, I'll do
Maybe it's just because I was a kid, and you perceive things different when you're a kid,
that. Like Joyland,
Like Joyland.
like riding your bike to the ballpark, and
Yeah.
the ice cream or the popsicle doesn't taste the same now because it's a different
Doesn't.
environment, and different setting.
It's a different setting.
But
yeah.
a lot of residents in Kansas do want to recreate that for their family, and I think you're onto something. So if you can maintain
I definitely
it.
want. That's one of my big passions is recreating that feeling. I want other kids to feel that, especially my own kids someday.
Yeah.
To have that Mayberry feel where you ride your bike up to the festival or the carnival or the baseball fields or whatever.
Sure. There's lots of good towns in Kansas that do that. So I think you have good examples to look at.
Yeah.
For sure.
I just need to look into it more.
So you hit the road.
I need to hit the road. Yeah.
Do research. You
Well,
could take this on the road, couldn't you?
I could. I'd have to figure it out better. And you can't really drink on the road legally.
Oh, well, but some people on this podcast have drank iced tea,
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah, we don't need
you
to
can
be
get by
drinking.
with a few episodes, then you come home like I do, and then you get back to
the craft
Yeah.
beers. Yeah.
But I can get a little distracted when I'm on the road and think like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to work and write about this when I get back.
Yeah.
I think honestly there is a misconception, and I've watched a lot of travel writing, like reality shows. I mean, we mentioned Anthony Bourdain, but there's so many, like Food Network, Travel Network and stuff. And you see them like out doing all the stuff where they're meeting the people and they're walking the streets and they're doing all this stuff. Do you imagine that they're writing at night in their hotel?
No.
No?
Well, that's a good thing to think about, actually, because I don't normally think about that. Normally, I guess I'm just paying attention to what they're doing. But they probably are going back and grinding all night, aren't they?
So, yeah, they have to get something down because it's fleeting. I mean, when I walk into a restaurant, people think I'm texting. If I'm a solo traveler, I'm taking notes in the notes section of my phone about the decor, about the sounds, about my food, about, that's just a restaurant example. But
because when you leave there, the memories start going away quickly.
Sure. You would forget because you've gone on to 7 more places that day. And then maybe you're going from town to town. I mean, it can become quite the blur.
Yeah.
So, yeah, doing research for this book, I'd revisit places I thought I knew really well, but maybe they made some changes. And so, I took notes about that. But, no, you were definitely taking notes. Maybe you go back to your hotel room and you download a bunch of photography.
Yeah.
Or video clips or whatever. Maybe you post to social media. But a travel writer's day is long because you have to think like, okay, I'm getting up before dawn so I can get to the place for breakfast that's 3 hours from here because that was supposed to be the start of my itinerary.
Oh, wow.
It was to be at the diner at blah, blah, blah time.
Yeah.
So you have to get there pretty early, and then you go through the whole day. You got to include dinner, so that's at least to then, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on my last trip, I went to a distillery. You would have loved that right after dinner. So then I've technically, if you consider drive time, I've worked from like 7 a.m. till 8 o'clock at night.
Yep.
But imagine doing that long of a stint in an office.
Oh, God.
I wouldn't trade it for the world. Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're tired. You just know you have to get something on the computer, download or whatever. When you get home, you piece it all out,
But you feel satisfied when your head hits that pillow at night in the hotel or wherever you're at, and you're like, wow, what a day.
Yeah.
I did all of that, saw all those things.
Yeah.
Rather than somebody that's in a cubicle and they just show up and they just like, oh, doing this again till 5.
And sometimes my head on the pillow could be in an old Kansas mansion.
Yeah.
Like last weekend.
Is that what you did?
Last week, yeah. I stayed at the Gulfler Mansion in Emporia, Kansas.
Really?
In the German room.
The German room?
Yeah, I don't know. It was really fun. Or it's a hotel, or it's a motel where you drive your car up to the door. That kind of one.
Oh, yeah. Like a Bates Motel?
Yeah. A couple I've stayed in have been pretty interesting.
Do you ever go to ghost towns?
No, because no one wants to pay me to write about stuff that's not open anymore.
That's true.
But, I mean, it would be fun.
Personally, I like going to abandoned places and seeing abandoned buildings and towns.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just a weird thing I have. And I like to walk into a big abandoned house and be like, wow, I wonder what this all looked like. I wonder the history that happened in here, the people that built this place and were passionate about it.
I mean, there's Instagram accounts that cover just that through Kansas. Like couples that just go out and seek out like the church in the middle of nowhere on a field that's like falling in on itself.
Yeah. And I follow that stuff on Reddit too because it just draws
really?
me in. I see these places and I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Should I be on Reddit?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Add that to my to-do list.
Yes. Reddit is a big one.
All right.
Yeah, I've posted this podcast on Reddit a few times. Sometimes they downvote the hell out of me. Sometimes they upvote it a lot.
Yeah.
But, I've seen other people that are YouTubers and stuff that have gained traction from Reddit.
Oh, good. Another thing is that we're both in the industry where we get a lot of, or we could, I shouldn't say we do, we could get some negative feedback about our work.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So one thing in the last year is that I've learned to have a thicker skin.
Have you had some criticism?
For sure.
Yeah?
And when I worked for other people, things would hurt my feelings if somebody critiqued my work in a certain way. And now, I mean, I have to make a living. You better just get a thick skin and move on and not let it bother you.
Yeah, because if you let it bother you, nothing good comes from that.
Right. I mean, there's some value to some of the comments. Like, I could have done a better job of being more descriptive about a place, or why didn't you show us this place or something like that? You should have gone to that place, right? That happens a lot.
Why'd you go there? That place sucks.
Well, and so I am very prepared for this kind of feedback, even at a book signing table. When someone's previewed the book, maybe their friend had it or whatever, and they're like, so I noticed that you didn't put this in there, but you put this one in there, and that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm offended that you did that.
Gosh. So I've tried to make it pretty clear, and if anyone's listening right now, they will also learn that I try to think of every kind of reader, right? So are you just dropping in for a short military job? Maybe you're only here for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've moved back from living somewhere else and your parents live here. You haven't been back in town forever. Maybe you're from here and you're bored. You say you're bored. I don't know how you could be bored, but you need
for people like
something
you
to
and me, I
inspire
don't
you.
know how you could be bored. Because there's a million things I could find, a million things I could do, 100 things I could do.
There's more than that.
There's way more.
I'm working on another list, but wish me luck. I got to sell a lot of books or I don't get to write another one.
You're going to do great.
Thanks for the shout out on your podcast.
Oh, yeah. You're going to do great. And then you can do a follow-up one with other places and other things that you find. You could really keep this going forever. It never really ends, Oh
my gosh, it's just now my life.
Because, you think of 100 things. I mean, that's such a limited scope.
Yeah, you're right. So maybe, if you can't find a publisher, a lot of people self-publish.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that game looks like. You probably make a lot more money, but I bet getting it out there into the world has got to be 3 times as hard. I need to ask somebody.
Well, you're just rolling with it. That's what I like about you.
You think?
Yeah. You're going to release this book, see what happens. It's going to do great, I think. And then you're going to go on to something else.
Yeah. And I'm willing to take, I mentioned people walk up to the table or they approach me and they're like, why didn't you put this in there? Or trolls on social media are the worst.
Yeah. They're bad.
You can hide them. You can block them. Did you know, let me get off on a tangent here. Did you know that if someone leaves a negative comment, on a business page, right? You can hide that comment so that your audience and you don't have to look at it anymore.
Nobody sees it.
They don't know it's hidden.
Is that right?
True, on Facebook.
That's some sneaky shit.
Nice little feature to use. I've used it before for myself and clients, but I do think there's some value in listening to people because they will often share with me, just like you shared a couple things earlier, that I should have known. I can't know everything.
Yeah, it's impossible to know everything.
Or that's new, or there's a project someone's working on, and
those are just people that are so bitter and they're just looking for something that they finally can talk about. They know about, how dare you skip over this restaurant that you missed or whatever.
Because it's their favorite.
Because it's their favorite or something stupid. And they're just looking for a reason to get on there.
I kind of want to just take those people with me now and take them out. That would be kind of weird. Maybe we meet each other there. But I can make
invite your trolls out.
Well, not a crazy one. A reasonable one that has a little bit of logic to them. But
that could be a little fun spinoff to my podcast. Having some beers with my trolls.
Do you have many?
Oh no, not a ton. I do have some though. I think they're funny. I think it's hilarious. I had a UPS driver on a while back.
Yeah, I saw that episode.
And
you asked the questions I wanted you to ask of him.
Did you?
Yes.
Or did I?
Yes, you did.
Why did I say did you?
Do you have to drive with the door open?
Yeah. What's the deal with that?
Everybody wants to know that. And how can you stand the weather? And what's up with the uniforms?
Yeah, what's up with all that weird stuff you guys do?
Yeah, but you were saying, I'm sorry.
Oh, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Anyways, that guy got trashed on for some reason. So there's hundreds of comments on that video on YouTube. And for some reason, there's a ton of trolls on that episode in particular.
Jealous people.
And, at first I started responding to him because I'll read them and be like, yo, what the hell? One of them was like, you're really going to interview a dude with 1.5 years of experience? I've had 30 years at my... And I was just like, well, come on and talk about it then,
Right. See, I
why is that my
problem?
problem?
Jealous.
Well, why is it my problem? I'm just here talking to anybody that wants to come on and talk to me.
Yeah, and again, back to that thick skin. It's I'm not going to own this.
No.
But I like your perspective on it, and that you are looking at it from a way of this is kind of humorous.
Yeah, it is, because it's just a hobby of mine right now.
They don't know you.
Know?
They don't know that person.
No. And if you want to talk shit, come on here and roast me. I don't care.
Ooh, a roast.
Yeah, get on here and roast me. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, that would be fun. Invite me when you do that.
You want to do the roast of Jesse Krause?
I might have to get to know you a little bit better, but I will certainly do social media and photography for you.
Hell yeah. And I'm going to actually reach out to you about that maybe for my own stuff at some point. Yeah.
I've got cards.
Yeah.
I even have a card for the book. For that naysayer who's comes over, is looking at the book, puts it down, okay? They're not ready to commit to purchase. I slip them my card.
Is that right?
QR code on the back. Here comes the marketing, right? Scan it. Decide later. It will take you right to the purchase order.
Nice.
I mean,
You're thinking of all the little tricks.
but you have to in this day and age because, I mean, you just have to. That's just where we're at.
It's just the way the world is now. People want to pull it up on their phone and look at it and look at reviews, rather than just picking stuff up in the store.
Yes. Authors have to ask for reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've reached out to a couple of people in the industry and I said, I'll give you a preview copy of the book. Will you please write me a review?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you go to Amazon, you see a review. The first couple are because the author was like, someone read my book, please. And then the rest are probably organic. And
I'll give you a review.
All right.
On Amazon, yeah.
Awesome. I want 5 stars.
I'm going to give you 5 stars just for coming on my podcast.
Sounds good. I'll go and like all your videos.
Call me a sellout.
Cheers. We're doing it.
Cheers.
It's not a sellout. It's called hustle and grind.
Yeah, it's called making it in the business, making it in the industry.
Yeah. What are your plans for this podcast?
We're not going to go there.
Oh, we're not? Oh, darn it. I was so
There are no
curious.
plans. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much explains my life.
Yeah.
I mean, you
That's
just
how
keep doing
things
what you
happen
do
sometimes.
well, and then if someone offers you a space or an opportunity, don't think too hard about it.
No. Don't stay up at night and kill yourself over it. I mean, this is just something I do. I already did this. Now I'm doing it with bigger people like you that are well known, which is cool. But
with my family and my friends who know me. But yes.
So, I mean, seriously, you reached out to me. That's huge. That's huge for me.
Yeah.
The fact that you even considered coming on here, and some of the previous guests that I've had even considered coming on here, like Ashley and other people that go look at my Instagram. I don't have very many followers.
Not yet.
My
I'll help
YouTube is probably doing the best out of everything right now, but still, it's like, this is brand new to me. This is a new world. The fact that you gave an hour of your time to just even do this with me means the world to me.
Same. Feel the same about you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that I drove to a town that, embarrassingly, I had never been to before, and it is not far from Wichita.
It's not. It's the small town life with the big city right there.
Your big city, you go to Wichita for everything? Maze?
I go to Wichita. I mean, I work in Wichita, so I'm there every day, but it's just 10 minutes that way.
Yeah.
So we get the small town vibe still out here, but we can just be in the big city in 10 minutes and get the big city life.
Yeah. What I like about Wichita is that people can still get to most places in about 20 to 22, 25 minutes. If it's all the way across town.
I tell everybody, 25 minutes you can get
25.
anywhere in Wichita.
I think it is more like 25 now. If it's like you're going from extreme to extreme.
That's crazy still, though, right? Look at Kansas City. Look at Oklahoma City. You're not getting across town in 20 minutes.
I met someone the other day who used to live in a big city, and I thought it was still a long drive. I was like, what? When's the last time you sat on the freeway?
Yeah.
Around here.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
Maybe there's construction or something, but
there's always construction.
Yeah, it's a approachable city to live in, to visit. Sometimes I get partnered up with another travel writer from out of state. Visit Wichita, reach out to me, or somebody will say, "Hey, I'm coming into town. Do you want to kind of come along with me? Because I've got an assignment to do." Mm-hmm. Heck yeah, I want to be your ambassador. I'll come along with you. And they're already going places like me. They have an itinerary, but then I'm like, but did you know?
Yep.
And they're always surprised at how just approachable and friendly and affordable. I mean, I know things aren't as affordable right now as they used to be.
Yeah.
But it really is.
Compared to other places, for sure. Yeah. I travel quite a bit for my job, and just going to even neighboring cities like Denver or Oak City or Kansas City.
Yeah.
Wichita is like, you can live like a king here for what you'd pay for a normal place in Denver.
So part of my love, or my love affair with visiting small towns in Kansas, is that I love that quiet. And I stayed in Waukene, and they put me up at a woman's Airbnb, and I had the whole house to myself, like this 2-story house. It was on the Main Street quad right there. Yeah. And I sat on the front porch, and it's very different than Wichita, right? But I only need it for a little while, then I want to get back to Wichita. Mm-hmm. But I sat on the front porch, and like the one man drove down the street in his pickup, and then there was just a little bit more traffic, and then around 7 o'clock, 7:30, nothing.
Just silence.
Yeah, and it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. You could think, right? You could listen to nature. And I thought, this is small town life, and it's pretty cool.
That's how the world used to be, you know. On Sundays, nothing was open. After 7 or 8 p.m., nothing. Everybody's at home with their families, cooking dinner or whatever.
Well, you bring up a good point. When I'm on the road, I travel about Thursday through Saturday. Usually Thursday through Saturday, Wednesday through Saturday. No main street that I've come across in Kansas opens until after 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
And don't even think it's going to be open on Sunday through
Oh, hell
Monday.
no.
No, they got things to do, people to see, church to go to.
Yep.
So my trips are usually on the weekends, which works out because then I can do all that other stuff during the week. So it makes for a good life.
It does. That's a fun life. You're always exploring. You're always seeing new things.
Yep. And sometimes I like to go live on Instagram, so you'll see me in the middle of a town's park or Main Street or whatever. Here I am. I'm in Belleville, Kansas today. I'm going to the racetrack. Let's go.
I love it.
Yeah.
What are your goals with all of this? Now you're releasing your book. What's the plan from here on out?
Yeah. Well, to pay my rent. I'm kidding. Feed myself. I just want to keep telling stories. I mean, maybe it'll branch me out to other states, you know, for trips that take a little bit longer. You know, I've gone places like Mexico and other states and travel, you know, written about that, but maybe not on a monetized way as much. So I'd love to get paid to go to New York City or go to San Francisco or
Would
Seattle.
you like to be doing something like Bourdain where you're traveling the world?
Man, he worked all the time, didn't he?
That's the dream job, though. Like that, to me, that is the dream job. If people ask me sometimes, what would you do if money wasn't a factor? I would be Anthony Bourdain. I would travel the world, trying different foods and learning about different cultures.
I think he probably did it in stints, you know, like he didn't do it every day of the year.
Yeah.
Although it did appear that way.
It did, yeah. When you watch it on TV.
Yeah, I could probably handle that. Yeah,
Do you
you're
have
setting
any
the bar
set-
high here, man. Like he's like a god.
He is like a god.
In my industry.
Oh,
yeah, for
and
sure.
for me in my personal life, for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I could probably travel multiple days a week. But, you know, when I was out like every day going to a new town after town after town, that does wear on you.
Yeah.
You feel less creative. You're just trying to get the notes down. So
Yep.
that's a little different. But
do you have any set goals, or are you just kind of rolling with it as it goes?
I mean, I have goals. I want to make money and go further, like distance wise. So I've got some places written down on the clipboard, on the desk.
The vision board.
I mean, I don't use a mood board or a vision board, but I have notes, and I'm ready to pitch some other places. So if they're listening, pay attention. Because usually what I do is I pitch why you should pay attention to me if you haven't heard of me, and here are my numbers. You got to show them your data.
Yeah.
And then they usually come back with, how much is this going to cost us? Which is their first question sometimes. So then I really have to like go to the double pitch, right? I am affordable, and we could talk about that on a Zoom call or a phone call. You just gotta. You're selling yourself. You're selling.
That's kind of like your numbers that you're showing them, like your streaming numbers or your likes and followers. That's like your resume.
Totally.
To these places.
Totally. I mean, you have a portfolio of work, just like that. You could direct them to your YouTube channel. But you would direct them to probably the videos that had the most, you know, plays or downloads or whatever, because that's your best work, right? And what you're really showing is engagement. It doesn't really matter if somebody clicks on something if they don't do anything with it.
That's true, yeah. You want that engagement. You want to see on YouTube, especially in the YouTube world, you want to see that they're not falling off after the first 30 seconds of the video.
Right.
When you look at the analytics and stuff.
Right. So, got to keep them engaged.
You got to keep engaged, yeah. And we're coming up on an hour and a half already.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Think about these podcasts, they just fly by.
They're fun. That's
why.
Then
my family's like, you guys talked a long time.
I know. People are like, that's a long podcast. Well, I don't want to cut it off short.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice to people out there that would want to do something like you, or?
Yeah, you just have to start, just like other jobs.
You just got to start doing it. Jump in.
I mean, I wasn't getting paid to be a travel writer when I worked my day job.
Yeah.
And I would come home and I would just write about somewhere we went on a trip for a weekend.
You were just doing it because you did it.
That's just what our household did. We took like occasional trips. But then I found a way to get more people to pay attention with the writing and going to places they cared about, right? Then you monetize it.
Yeah.
Ask questions. If you're not sure what to do, ask someone like me or ask you or someone who's doing it already. Like,
well, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to ask questions for those people if they're listening.
Just start.
I think you covered it all, though.
You have to take pictures, video, right? If you want to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And be consistent. I mean, Ashley told you that when she was on.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with other creatives. If we drop off, even for like a week or a couple weeks, they're looking at somebody else's stuff.
Yeah.
They're the authority on the topic now.
But you shouldn't get discouraged, though, if you're just doing it as a hobby at first and nobody's listening or watching yet, right?
No, definitely not.
Because I think people feel like, well, what is anybody going to look at me for? Why are they going to like my post?
So differentiate yourself in some way then if you're worried about that, right? So what makes a couple of people in Wichita's foodie community unique is that some of them will go into hole-in-the-wall places. Some of them do outside the city limits a little bit. Some people do anonymous.
We need somebody that does strip clubs.
I mean, if we haven't several, I guess you have a breadth of material there.
We need somebody that does the real sketchy spots.
Yeah.
You know what also?
Extra sketch.
What I've thought about before, too, is it'd be cool to make a list of the best bathrooms in town.
Oh, my gosh.
Where somebody could pull up a map, like if you have to go and you're over on Pawnee and Broadway, where can I stop in here? There's got to be something on the map close.
And you could do historic bathrooms, like public Wichita downtown, historic facts about that bathroom. I'm serious. There really are places that have like unique architecture and stuff in the bathroom.
Oh, I'm thinking more along the lines of like Billy the Kid took a shit in this bathroom over here.
Yeah, there's a fact like that in my book.
Is there really?
I mean, not that one, but there is one like
not that
in
particular
my book.
fact.
No, but you might be onto something. Yeah, you just have to niche down so you find, when people are asking you the same kind of question, that's what you need to be you have to think about your audience, not just you going out to eat or going to a place.
Yeah.
Like, what does my audience follow
me for? What do they
want to
hear? Yeah, what do they want to see?
And if you follow my Instagram, I'm posting about food and booze and attractions. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe some pretty pictures of some wheat fields every once in a while, but for the most part, it's to get you out of your car and go spend local money.
I need to get on Instagram more. I follow you on Instagram, but I don't use it. I only use it to post my podcast stuff.
15 minutes a day is all you need.
I need to get my personal Instagram,
Yeah. We're going to get you there. Baby steps.
Yeah. I'm not very good at social media, but
we'll get you there.
All right. Well, do you have any last advice or last words you want to say to people out there or anybody that's listening?
I would just ask people to support those people in your community that are trying to better it, whether that's your city council, your mayor, the writer, the photographer who's sneaking into Joyland to take pictures because they want to hold on to nostalgia like everybody else in town. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you can do that by telling them, liking on their social media, sharing it with others, buying their books.
Speaking of which, where can people find your book? Where can they find you?
Thank you. So you can follow me and my travel adventures on onedelightfullife.com, and it has all the social handles. And then you can find the book where books are sold. Support your independent bookstore, or buy one out of my trunk of my car.
Or go to Amazon, leave a good review.
Yeah, that will help me. Or Goodreads or something like that. Yeah.
And just say the name of the book one more time for everybody listening.
Sure. 100 Things to Do in Wichita Before You Die.
Very good. Very good.
You've got time.
Yes.
Check them off.
Check them off. Get that bucket list open and do it. Quit watching TV every day. Go do things.
Exactly.
And that'll all be in my description. If you're listening or watching, please go to my social media, Careers Over Beers podcast. If you're on YouTube, go down in my description. All of these things are there. You can buy her book. You can find her website, her socials. Thanks for all you do.
Oh, thanks for all you do.
Thanks for supporting local.
Of course. Anytime.
Yeah. Cheers to you. Cheers to your book. I'm going to get one of those very soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hold you to it.
All right. Thanks, Vanessa. hour and 30 minutes.